This diagram shows a grid of 100 people. If you look closely at that single illuminated dot, you are looking at the statistical footprint of the INFJ personality type. They make up roughly 1 to 2% of the global population, making them the rarest Myers-Briggs classification in the world. The defining struggle of the INFJ is a pervasive, quiet sense of operating on a different psychological wavelength from everyone else in the room. They are wired to read the motives and emotions of the people around them, seeing behind the masks that others wear. Yet they carry an isolating burden. They are built to understand others, but rarely find anyone who understands them in return. The INFJ functions through a set of opposing forces. They fiercely guard their privacy and require massive amounts of solitude. At the exact same time, they are intensely people-oriented, often pouring their energy into deep human connections and advocating for social causes. They experience emotions with intense depth, yet they process the world through a lens of scientific rationality, often being mistaken for pure logical thinkers. They appear to have a capacity to predict future events and relationship outcomes, yet their method relies entirely on sitting quietly and observing. These traits are the visible outputs of a highly specific, complex psychological engine. To understand how an INFJ survives in a loud world, we need to examine the specific cognitive mechanics that process their data. The core drive of the INFJ mind is a cognitive function called introverted intuition. This is a high-speed, subconscious data logger running constantly in the background of their mind, snapping seemingly unrelated pieces of information into a coherent picture. For the INFJ, this background program specifically targets human nature. It silently catalogs micro-expressions, subtle shifts in tone, and the tiny emotional tells that reveal when someone is masking their true intentions. Over time, the volume of this collected behavioral data allows a mature INFJ to see the big picture. They can observe a friend's relationship dynamics and forecast where the conflicts will erupt long before the couple realizes there is a problem. Because this pattern recognition operates beneath the surface of conscious thought, the INFJ experiences it as a sudden, inexplicable gut feeling. They know what is going to happen, but they often struggle to explain to others how they arrived at that conclusion. That internal processing is paired with a secondary cognitive function known as extroverted feeling. This is the mechanism that forces the INFJ's attention outward, strictly orienting them toward the people around them. The central node represents the INFJ, while the lines flowing inward represent the literal absorption of emotional data from the surrounding room. When someone walks in angry, the INFJ feels that anger physically manifest in their own body. Because they take on the emotions of others, they can become highly talkative, passionate advocates. When defending a close friend or a deeply held cause, they often appear to be extroverts. Processing this immense, continuous volume of external emotional data severely drains their internal battery. They require extreme solitude because their emotional receptors need to be systematically powered down to avoid an overload. That brings us to how an emotional sponge can simultaneously operate as a rational thinker. INFJs balance their feeling function with an analytical thinking function. This allows them to take all that absorbed, chaotic emotion and process it through a lens of objective logic. This combination allows them to diagnose an emotional crisis with diplomatic, clinical precision. They can feel a friend's pain while simultaneously identifying the root cause of the distress. Their blend of warmth and sharp reasoning makes them highly sought-after confidants. People naturally flock to them for advice, which directly exposes the INFJ to their greatest modern hazard. Because they rarely dominate conversations and genuinely care about personal growth, they attract people who seek a constant outlet. This makes them vulnerable to one-sided relationships, where the INFJ gives everything and receives nothing in return. When conflict arises in these unbalanced dynamics, the INFJ's drive for relational harmony turns against them. The stress of interpersonal friction often manifests as physical symptoms: headaches, nausea, and exhaustion. This creates a difficult cycle, like a delicate structure fracturing under invisible pressure. They'll stay in a draining, codependent relationship simply to avoid the physical distress of setting a boundary. To survive, The INFJ must engage their logical side to build rigid psychological boundaries. They have to override their instinct to endlessly accommodate those who take advantage of their nature. An INFJ's ultimate goal is not to be understood by the masses. Their mission is to fiercely protect their emotional energy, reserving it for the rare individuals who finally see behind their mask and appreciate the paradox.